Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Women on the Rise. This is my girl, Shannon. She's a business owner, and I only know her on Instagram, so I got to hear a little bit of her story already while we were chatting. I cannot wait for you to hear the rest. So, Shannon, please take it away.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. This is so much fun. And I think it's just fabulous that we can organically meet this way. I think that's the beauty of, the interwebs that, you can find some great friends that you don't even have to, know them personally, at that physical level. But thank you for having me on.
You're so welcome.
My name is Shannon Fenton Coster, and I am out of Overland Park, Kansas, in my business space. And I'm an esthetician of over 20 years, makeup artist of over 20 years, and also do energy work. And I have now combined the two together to kind of create one big fun modality that they blend so well. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about that.
Yes, that seems so intertwined, all of it. So I cannot wait to hear how it became about for you.
Yes, I know. It's kind of, again, very organic on how you're drawn to all the things that you're supposed to be doing, right?
Yep. So go ahead, tell us your story, kind of when you got started and why, where did it even come from?
Yes, absolutely. So I've always had a heart for helping people. I'm just kind of a natural born servant, and I love to make people feel good, inside and out. And that's exactly what my business is. I decided years ago that I was not college bound. And so I decided to start working in the makeup industry. And that led me to getting in the aesthetics industry very quickly, just because they commingle so well, having great skin and having good makeup, and just being able to present them both well. And so I started doing that. And I actually have been a makeup artist for lots of events, but I specialize in weddings because, again, it's a feel good day. Love being a part of everybody's special day. So I do that as well. And then about 7 years ago, I streamlined into learning more about the energetic world of Reiki and some other energy healing modalities, and started doing this for myself.
I was I just got my energy bracelet the other day. It made me think of
yes, I love it. That's amazing. All of our little gadgets. I love it. Yeah, our crystals and fun stones, and yes, just anything for good healing vibes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we need them all. I'm like, pour them on. So I just started doing that alongside these things. My clients were very interested. And again, when I was younger, I always loved I was always this peacemaker therapist for, friends on the playground, per se. Everybody came to Shannon for help, and I was I love this, but I didn't have the passion to go to school for that. So my passion is helping people. And again, I can do this every day, seeing so many people in my room. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a story. We are so intimate in this aesthetic realm with touching and, feeling, and it just all paired so well together that when I took this next step to go into the energy world, everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I already trust you with the stories that I've told you for 20 years. And we have this intimate, just talk all the time, every 6 weeks or however many weeks people come into me. We're always solving the world's problems or our problems together, which is really cool. And so they trusted me with this, already. Because when you're stepping into somebody's energy, it's very sacred, it's a very intimate experience. So I just love it. It's kind of just all molded together perfectly, and my clients love it. And it's just been really exciting being able to meet new people along the way to add into both services. So
I absolutely love that. And I want to hone in, and I hope you're comfortable talking about it, but the no college thing. So you're speaking to my soul. I went for a couple years, but only because you're supposed to do that. It's what society says is next step. And I was miserable the whole time, but I did it for as long as it took for me to go into my career. But I feel like it's so important. And in today's society, I feel yes, we know it's there, we know it's a thing, but I think people are finally starting to open their minds a little bit to alternative paths. And this is definitely one of those, lean into that skill. Some of us can't sit in a classroom for 8 hours and pay attention, or for gosh sakes, a work environment for 8 hours without kind of losing it a little bit, and then your energy is screwed up, and now you need your energy fixed. So it's interesting to hear you talk about that. So I kind of want to ask, what advice, if there's someone watching this and they're like, man, my parents are really pushing for me to go to college, or they're feeling that pull of this is what I have to do, need to do. Do you have any advice for them?
I do. I say stay true to you. Like you, even if it's your parents or outside sources or somebody in school is like, no, you need to go to college. You're not going to be anything without college. I had so many friends go to college that came out doing things they didn't want to do. Just really never went on that path. And like they did not go in and hone in on what they loved. And I think I was really, really fortunate that my folks, they knew that I was not the college student. They knew, I mean, I wasn't a student, period. Let's be real. School was not my thing. I'm one of those creative minds that I was daydreaming out the window, seeing what, friend could hang out after school. Like I just was not in the zone of school. So I really like miraculously got through it. So my dad was the person that told me, find what you love and do it well, and he actually was a foundryman, which we don't have many of those anymore, but he had his whole career in that, never went to college, wonderful, successful businessman. My mother's a nurse, so she did have to go to school and it was hard for her, but she came out because she's a natural born servant too. She loves to help people and that's her thing. So that became easy to her, right?
Yeah.
So they both saw that I had a love of artistry and makeup and things like that. So they let me run with it, and they really honed on that. So I was so fortunate with that. But what I would tell people is just stay true to you, like be your authentic self, find what you're good at, and then really see, we can all do something that we're good at, right? Like I think that we try to put people in this box of like, are you going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, a firefighter, or, like, you can go so many different realms that people don't even think about, right?
And younger even, I feel like it's, well, what are you going to be? What are you going to be? How about you just let the kids grow up?
Yes. And like
It's
stop
funny,
telling
I'm
them what they're
36
good
and
at.
it makes me figure like that long to be like, don't worry about it. If you don't have college, if you're going to college, you don't have to have a major picked out. Guess what?
No.
Figure it out, because you're going to get there and you're going to be like, what did I do?
Yeah. And
And
you
you're
see people that have
pigeonholed. Yep.
yes.
Yep.
You've
And if
seen
you
people go
can't
to school
think
for
outside
6.
of the box, you're like, what? Because someone's telling you this is the path you need to take. Your advisor is, hey, this is how we need to go. And honestly, anything can be a business anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, literally anything. I mean, I look around and if we went door to door, there are so many creative things that we like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that someone had to have that career because we have to make this happen, right? I mean, so yeah, I really think that we've done a disservice by kind of programming our children to think one way. So I am a big person on trade industries. I think it's like really, and I love to put this out there because it's so crazy. So we have these kids that go to school and spend thousands of dollars, thousands, and then we never pay them off, right? And we're never making the money that we think we're going to be making out of school. And then, life happens. Adulting, let's be real, is not the easiest thing we'll ever do, right? So you're always trying to catch up, right? I mean, I know I'm still catching up, but I'm 41 years old. It's like, I am like, oh my gosh, like, I can't imagine if I had to pay student loans off, I would be like sinking.
Right.
And when I went to school for aesthetics 21 years ago, my tuition was $1,500.
Wow.
And I have been extremely successful. You can make 6 figures easily in this industry if you work hard.
Yep.
And I never went to college.
Yep.
And so I've got friends who have never made 6 figures and went to college and they're still paying off debt.
And I bet they still can't find a job in the field they went to college for.
Exactly. Or do they want to be, or they spend all this money and, again, not knocking, like maybe stayed at home with their kids. So they're paying on this thing that and again, college, I'm sure, has got amazing experiences that are priceless, right? You grow and you learn, but where I grew and learned was in the workplace. I've been working since I was 14. Interestingly enough, during shutdown, that was the first 2 months of my life. I've never not worked since 14, which was glorious, by the way. I mean,
I was going to say, I bet you were like, hey, this isn't actually that bad. This is okay.
I know. I'm like, not under great circumstances, but I'm like, this is amazing. I get to actually spend time with my kids. But I just think that we put so much pressure on people. And I'm like, if you're a, well, man or woman, because I don't think you need to say, a woman can't be a mechanic or something, but like if you
Right.
want to be a mechanic, if you want to be a plumber or, HVAC, I mean, it is incredible. And I think that's where we need to say there's so many great trades out there.
Yeah.
Or, you know, look at the direct sales business. I mean, my sister went to 5 years
Yep.
of a very private university. Now, granted, she was very smart, got lots of scholarships. So she didn't really have any, debt when she came out of it. But guess what? She became a teacher,
Yep.
was not happy, was not making the money, got into direct sales, made top 10 in her direct sales. I mean, she was one of the amazing people, right?
Wow.
Then became corporate for them and
Wow.
kept making and making. And I just looked at her and I'm like, this is what dreams are made of. People can do anything that they want to do, right?
Yes.
And so she goes, yes, I gained a lot of knowledge from 5 years in school, but I didn't have to do that to succeed where I wanted to.
Right.
And, she still taught and she still coached and she was still using that inner core that
Mhm.
she wanted to go to school to be a teacher because that's her, but
Right.
she can teach without having a degree, right? Like if that's in your soul, like it is me to serve and help people and be like, I've got that inner knowing
Yep.
of just like, I've had this old wise soul. That's, like people are like, why are you so young and know these things? I'm like, I don't know, and that's kind of like where I found my gifts, right?
Yes.
Um, so the therapy, there you go. Like I didn't have to go be a therapist, and go to 13 years of school to do what I'm doing. I'm already doing that every
Yep.
day with the people that I'm around. So it's really I just say follow your heart, and what you love, and you'll always be successful.
I love that. The way the world has kind of turned kind of upside down, it's shown a lot of people what they're capable of. You want to teach.
Yes.
You can teach online now. You can do coaching or therapy. You don't need that technical
Hmm. The
whatever it
degree.
is, a degree or
Hmm.
a piece of paper that says, hey, if people like, know, and trust you and you're willing to give sound advice, like
Yes.
it's a thing and you can find a way to make that a business. So I love that. I want to clarify, we are not bashing college, just for all of you out there. I know it's the
Absolutely
internet.
not. It's just not for everybody, and
It
I
is
think that
not
we
for
can't
everyone and
put.
we need to broaden that scope
Hmm.
for people.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Not we don't want to fit in the box. We want to just
Yeah.
find the box that works for us, right?
If
Like
Yeah, if the
there's
VOTEC
lots
in
of
my
different.
high school hadn't been for the bad kids, I think probably it's something that kids would open their eyes to, but it had such a negative connotation of this is where the bad kids go because they can't keep up with school and you good kids can
Yes.
be over here. And
Yes.
now I look back, I'm
And
like,
I would
damn.
highly agree with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much
They
so.
did a real disservice with that. I agree. Like, or the
Yep.
people that aren't scholarly, you're not good enough, so you can go over here. And that's really like the vibe that it was. And
Yep.
that's so not true. I mean, there's so many intellectual people that are doing amazing, amazing things with their hands and their minds and the technicalities that many people that are in the corporate world, can't do. Or
Yeah.
I have a gift of talking. Like I can talk all day. And you know what? My talking and my personality actually has gotten me farther, and my common sense, because that's really, let's be real, we need a lot of common sense. Um, that's gotten me farther than any degree could have ever done,
I would
you know?
agree. And the more you talk, the more similar I think we are. And you're not far. You're like 30 minutes from me. Dear Lord, I cannot wait to meet you in person,
Yes,
hopefully.
I know, me too.
I keep finding these people in my city. Kansas City's a big place. I just like call it all Kansas City. I'm like,
I do too.
I
Same
would have
here.
never met any of these people without the darn internet. So I'm
I
so
know,
thankful
I
for
know.
that.
And I tell you what, some of my favorite friends have come from this, where it's just organic and we're like, oh my gosh, let's meet up,
I will
and
tell you, my
it's
most supportive friends come from the online realm, and it's the craziest thing to me.
I would agree 100%. I just met some ladies that I met 2 years ago online who have been so entrenched in my life, and we have been holding space for each other. And we just met, and I'm like, I feel like I've known you lifetimes. It's just they're your people, and it doesn't matter where they are at, right?
Right. I think that's the amazingness of it. I do want to ask, what do people look for if they're wanting to go in your realm of beauty? What do they look for in a school? Like what's reputable and what's not? I'm sure there's a lot of places out there claiming to be a good school. but can you
Yes.
really get a job if you're not maybe entrepreneur mindset enough yet to kind of start your own business?
Right. Well, and that is something that's kind of shifted and changed. So when I got into my program, it had only been probably 5 years old at the time. Because
Okay.
before you went to cosmetology school, you got, you learned nails, hair, skincare, it was hit very mildly.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got in, it was only like a 5-year program. So it was pretty fresh and new.
Okay.
So there weren't as many estheticians necessarily around as there are now. So again, like you do feel like, okay, there's a hairdresser, there's an esthetician on every corner. And I tell people, don't get discouraged by that, because there's so many people. And this is what I was taught. I actually went to Johnson County Community College. So I have to give a shout out to them for their aesthetics program.
I just dropped some samples off to them last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh yes, they're amazing. It's such a good school. They had the best teachers. They gave really sound advice. People get into this because they go, well, it's kind of like maybe the only resort I have. And so sometimes the window of longevity is only about 3 to 5 years, and then people burn out. They think it's hard to build a business, and it is hard to build a business. The thing that schools are doing a little disservice on, and I really can't call out because I don't know tons of this, there's several in the city that you can choose from, right?
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to find how long have they been doing it, their credibilities, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
who's teaching your classes. There are some major pros and cons, right? I always look at cost too, like what are you going to really chew off, because nowadays, I mean, I paid $1,500. Nowadays it's $20,000 to go to school. So it's still a chunk of change for people to really think about. So,
and are there scholarships or anything like that in the beauty school realm?
Not to my knowledge. Okay. Don't think so, but it's been a long time since I've looked into it. So I'm not sure they do scholarships for that. I don't think that they do. I think that's more for the academia side of it, which is kind of they do have financial help. So if people need to go out and get financial help, they'll still give you financial help for it. Okay. But scholarships, I don't think that they do. Yeah. Okay. So, but the schools, a lot of them I've heard just in recent years, they're like, go out, you can just go ahead and get your booth rental and start your business. And I'm like, it's not quite that easy. You need to work in the industry probably 3 to 5 years before you jump ship and go on your own. And I bet I was out probably 4 years and then started my own business. And it was a leap of faith, right? I really hadn't built up quite the clientele that I wanted to feel safe, because the booth rental that I was in was extremely expensive, at the time, and still has stayed expensive. Right.
Right.
So it is hard. You've got to put a lot of hard work in creative marketing. I always tell people, like, I'm not into going and spending thousands of dollars on marketing. I love what I do. Did a great job for my clients. They referred people. And that's how I built my whole business. So it's word of mouth is the best. I put my heart and soul into it. And so guess what? It's been a pretty easy ride since I've done that. But it's tough. I mean, you go through these pockets of, 2008 when everything came crashing down and a lot of people were losing money. And, some people are like, I can't afford to come get a facial, or I can't afford to come get a wax. Right. I'm put on the back burner. Yep. So, or some people are like, I need a facial because I'm about to lose my mind. So it's like, it just depends on what's most important, right? Yep. But sometimes you are put on the back burner until people can get back up on their feet again. So, I survived that, of course, survived this crazy world we've lived in for the last couple of years. So you just kind of ride the waves, right? But if you love it, it will always work out, and have faith that it will.
Yep. I always say the universe will throw tests out there. Do you really want the life you say you do? It's going to throw them. And if you can combat them, then clearly you're destined for that. You want that and you're willing to work for it. So I love that. Clearly you've kind of talked about some of the ups and downs, but when you get in that down, sometimes they last a little longer than we want them to, but how do you dig yourself back out of that? What do you use for motivation?
Yeah, it's the people. It's always the people. Again, like I said, odd break of a couple months not working. but I missed my people every single day. And I literally communicated with most of my clients the whole time because they're like, A, you should be essential because we need you.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I know. Right. So I love my clients, and I really have a hard time even using the word client because these people are my friends and family. These people I share the most intimate parts of my life with. And so when it gets hard, I just remember the people.
Yep.
And that's really what always draws me back. And the love that we both exchange for each other. They love me just as much as I love them. And so I think, man, on the days that I'm like, this is just too much, they don't want me to quit, and, vice versa. So I don't want them to quit me, and I don't want, they don't want me to quit them. And so, it's really about the love that I share for those folks that come into me and the relationships. And then at the end of the day, like, you could have maybe one crazy client that comes in that throws your whole day off. And then the next person walks in, and I'm just like, oh, like, I'm a huge hugger. So my clients know they're going to get attacked by me at all costs. So I'm like, even if people don't like to hug, I'm like, oh, but you're going to hug me, and they're like, yes, we know. Like,
energy transfer.
I'm building up your hug system. So, they make me feel good. And so that next person always turns around for me.
I love that.
And I've been really fortunate again that I think you attract what you are. So there's been a few people, that will always slip through the cracks and are like, oh, Debbie Downer walked in, and you're like, I'm not sure I want to keep serving you.
Yep.
But I have attracted the most amazing people. And in 21 years of doing this, I could probably count on one hand the people that I wouldn't welcome back in my, and I wouldn't even say welcome back. The people that maybe aren't giving me the best energy boost.
Right. There you go. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. Shannon, where can people find you, either online or if you have a place that people can come visit you? Where is that at?
Absolutely. So my office is actually housed out of a really neat facility at 154th and Metcalf in Overland Park, Kansas. And it's inside a place called Fitness Alliance, which kind of the name throws everybody off, but you walk in, it's the most random location. I'm like literally between a CarQuest and a Classic Floor, like, design center. So people are like, what are you at? And then you walk in and the doors open and you're like, oh my goodness, this place is magic. It is filled with nothing but great energy.
Oh, I love it.
Everybody is in health and wellness. So I'm not in like a spa setting, right? We do have massage therapists. We have a Pilates studio. We have a full gym. We have a PT clinic. We just have we've got a yoga studio and another amazing friend of mine who does great healing work. We just have a lot of amazingly cool people. So it's more of a wellness center that you can find a little bit of everything that you need. So I'm inside of that. That's where I office. And I have two offices in there, one for my energy side and one for my aesthetic side. So I do blend them when they're in my aesthetic room, but I do have a separate office for more of kind of my modality called Emotion Code, which is let's see. Okay, we're back.
There you are.
Oh, technology is not my friend, I will tell you that.
I agree.
But yes, so kind of where I left off. So I house out of this wonderful studio in Overland Park, and I also can do remote. So I can do remote energy work as well. So a lot of my clients, if I'm doing Reiki or if I'm doing Emotion Code, I can actually work all over the world with people. So that is like the beautiful thing about the energy work, that you don't necessarily have to see me in the office. We can always do some beautiful work, online too.
Oh, I love that. Kind of just
so I love that
for everybody,
which is really, really neat. A lot of people don't, if you're not really in the know of it, you don't understand it, but it's a really great way. So I love the fact that I can just keep spreading this love and light all over the place.
I love that. And then on social media, are you on social media?
I am on social media. So you can find me at Instagram at Beauty From Within KC, as well as on Facebook. I have a separate Facebook page for my business as well, and that's Beauty From Within KC as well. And yes, that's pretty much all the two that I'm on. Again, I try to stay with what I know.
I totally get it.
So I'm like, I haven't expanded from that, but yes, those are two great ones that you can find me on.
Wonderful. Well, Shannon, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to hear your story. I've probably got like 100 other questions to talk to you about, but these people
Yes,
probably need to go to eat dinner or something. So
I think so. We need to make a plan of that for sure.
for sure. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us. I will type the show notes down below. You can find them so you will know where to find Shannon. And thank you for joining us. Please join us next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.